Imagine an entire galaxy trembling at the sight of just one woman. Planets whispered her name, fleets turned their ships away, and even the bravest warriors refused to meet her gaze. She wasn't a warlord. She wasn't a conqueror. She was something far more terrifying, or so everyone thought. Because when humanity entered the picture, one man did what no other species dared. He stepped forward, and in that single act, he uncovered a truth that would rewrite the balance of power across the stars. Before we dive deeper into this incredible HFY story, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps this channel grow. And if you love tales where humanity dares to stand where others won't, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss the next story. Oh, and share this video with a friend who loves sci-fi as much as you do. It might just spark a debate. The convocation chamber was supposed to be a cathedral of peace. Delegates from 100 worlds had gathered there. Scaled diplomats, chittering insectoids, winged envoys with feathers that shimmered under the hall's great lights. It was meant to be a sanctuary for negotiation, where even enemies laid down their arms at the door. But when she entered, the very air changed. Her name was Vela. Some called her the Deathorn. Others whispered of her as the Empress of Ruin. Whatever the title, it always meant the same thing: dread. She was tall, her armor black and alive, a surface that seemed carved from obsidian but pulsing faintly as though it drank in the light around her. Her eyes, cold, starless, like dying suns, cut through the chamber without effort. Every step she took sounded not like movement but like judgment. And the galaxy obeyed. Tendrils withdrew. Wings folded. Voices died in throats. Not one being dared to step closer than the breadth of the hall. Even the bravest, those who had faced wars and sieges, found themselves staring at the floor, praying she would pass them by. The stories about her were enough to silence entire civilizations. They said her armor fed on the very life force of anyone foolish enough to touch it. They said entire fleets had collapsed when she appeared. Planets surrendered without a single shot fired. Some even believed she was cursed, that no mortal could survive her presence for long. And so the rule became law across the stars. Keep your distance. Until one day a human broke it. His name was Marcus Hale, though to most he was nobody special. Not a soldier, not a diplomat, not a spy, just a mechanic, a wanderer who traded his skills for travel aboard whatever ship needed him. He wasn't even supposed to be noticed. His job at the convocation was simple: keep the life support running, replace filters, tune regulators. Nothing glamorous, nothing heroic. But Marcus had a problem. Humans had a habit of ignoring rules, especially rules that didn't make sense. The first time he saw Veila, he noticed something strange. Not just the fear around her, not just the whispers. No, what Marcus heard was a sound. A low hum, uneven, the kind of noise that made his mechanic's instincts twitch. It wasn't coming from the walls or the ducts, it was coming from her armor. To him it was obvious. Something was failing. Something was broken. And while the galaxy recoiled in silence, Marcus did the unthinkable. He walked toward her. The hall froze. Delegates drew back as though his steps might summon death itself. Some covered their eyes. Others whispered frantically, already convinced the human was lost. No one spoke to the Deathorn. No one approached. But Marcus kept going, grease-stained jacket hanging loose, tool pack slung across his shoulder, utterly unimpressed. Veila's eyes fixed on him. The full weight of her gaze could make generals shiver. "Human," she said, her voice echoing like thunder across stone mountains. "Do you know who I am?" Marcus just nodded, calm as if he were talking to any client. "Yeah, you're the one making that awful noise like a grav stabilizer about to rupture." Gasps rippled through the chamber. A dozen species recoiled. To speak to her so bluntly, to mock her. Madness. For a heartbeat, silence. Then, something no one expected. Her head tilted. A flicker of curiosity pierced the void of her helm. "You dare compare my armor to machinery?" Marcus shrugged. "If it hums, rattles, and sparks, it's machinery. Yours is failing, And when it blows, you won't be scaring anyone." The galaxy held its breath, and then she laughed. Not softly, not kindly. It was a laugh like storms breaking over oceans, like cannons shattering across a battlefield. But underneath, hidden so deep even she might not have noticed, was something else. A thread of relief. "You would fix what gods themselves forged?" Marcus smirked. "Lady, I've patched freighters with chewing gum and prayer. Can't be harder than that." That was how it began. Not with prophecy, not with grand declarations, but with a mechanic who heard a rattle no one else dared listen for. And when Vela allowed him, when she gave him the chance, history shifted. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's most feared woman wasn't untouchable. She was just broken. And one human was foolish enough to try fixing her. They gave him a chamber. Not willingly, of course. The convocation staff begged and argued, but in the end, Vela herself silenced them with a gesture. "If he fails," she said, her voice low and dangerous, "his life is forfeit. But if he succeeds, then perhaps I will know what it means to be whole again." The guards fled, unwilling to linger. The chamber was bare save for a throne-like charger at its center. Veila stood tall, her armor still pulsing with that uneven, painful hum. The sound filled the silence like a heartbeat that couldn't decide if it wanted to keep going. Marcus dropped his tool pack. His hands trembled, not with fear, but focus. He circled her, eyes tracing every line of the living armor. Here a crack where energy leaked. There, a conduit sparking like a live wire. The whole thing looked half machine, half creature, and all pain. "Sit," Marcus said. Her eyes narrowed. No one had commanded her in centuries. Yet, she sat. Hours bled away. Sparks flew as he cut into conduits, spliced wires, and jury-rigged regulators scavenged from his kit. The smell of burning metal filled the room. More than once, arcs of energy seared across his hands, leaving blisters. He hissed, cursed, and kept working. Through it all, Vela watched him. Not as a queen surveying her court, but as something else. Something closer. At last she spoke. "Why do you not fear me, human? Others flee at my shadow. Yet you touch what they believe devours souls." Marcus didn't look up. "Fear's a waste of time when something's broken. And you're broken. Not beyond fixing, but broken." Her breath caught, barely audible. "You see me as ordinary?" "No," Marcus muttered, tightening a coupling as sparks snapped across his fingers. "I see you as a woman about to cook alive in her own armor if I don't finish this patch." For a long time she said nothing. Then softly, almost as if she had forgotten how to form the words, "It has been centuries since anyone spoke to me as if I were only a woman." The last regulator slid into place. Marcus wiped sweat and soot from his brow. "Try it now." Vela rose. For a moment, nothing. Then the armor thrummed. Not with a shriek of dying power, but with a steady rhythmic pulse. A heartbeat. Its glow stabilized. The cracks shimmered closed with light instead of darkness. She inhaled, sharp and sudden, and then released the first easy breath she had taken in centuries. The agony that had chained her was gone. The hum no longer screamed. It sang. Her eyes widened. She looked down at the grease-stained human who had done what no sorcerer, no supplicant, no engineer could. "You have unbound me," she whispered. Marcus just exhaled, weary but steady. "Nah, just fixed the leak." And then it happened. Something the galaxy believed lost forever. Vela smiled. When they emerged from the chamber, silence fell. Her armor gleamed, no longer cracked and wailing, but radiant and alive. She walked like a queen reborn, and at her side walked Marcus Hale, utterly unafraid. Delegates stared in disbelief. The Deathorn, untouchable, feared, avoided, now allowed a human to stand close enough to brush shoulders. Vela raised her voice and the hall quaked with its weight. "You have all feared me, but this human did not. He came close when none would. He saw not a curse but a wound and he mended it. From this day he walks with me. Let the galaxy bear witness. Whispers rippled through the chamber, not of terror, but of awe. For the first time, the unthinkable had happened. The Deathorn was no longer untouchable. Later, when the hall was empty, Marcus slumped against the wall, exhausted. "You risked your life," Vela said quietly, standing over him. "Why?" Marcus looked up, eyes tired but steady. "Because someone had to, and because I couldn't stand the sound of that whining hum." For the first time in centuries, her laughter filled the chamber. Not dreadful, not terrifying, but free. And that as the story of the human who dared to step where no one else in the galaxy would. While every other species trembled at the sight of her, one mechanic heard not a curse but a cry for help. That's humanity at its finest. Reckless, stubborn, compassionate, and unafraid to fix what others fear. If you enjoyed this HFY story, make sure to drop a like. It really helps the channel. Subscribe if you want more tales where humanity shines brightest in the darkest corners of the galaxy. And share this with a friend who loves sci-fi. You never know what debates it might spark. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and never be afraid to step closer when the galaxy steps back.